Marseille, France's oldest city. Is Marseille a dangerous city? Marseille, a port city in southern France, has been a crossroads of immigration and trade since its founding by the Greeks circa 600 BC. Travelers visit the port city of Marseille, the third largest city in France, for the meeting of style and history. Marseille is the oldest city in France, and indeed one of the oldest in Western Europe. The city was founded as Massalia in around 600 BC, and soon developed into an important port in the ancient Greek world. For the Greeks, and later for the Romans, it was a major point of transition and trade between the civilisations of the Mediterranean and those of Gaul and northwest Europe. What is Marseille in France famous for? Marseille is famous all over the world for its bouillabaisse. Go to the Bouillabaisse. The famous fish soup of Marseille jumped on the shark. Aggressive marketing has pushed up its cost to 60 to 100 euros. Is Marseille, France worth visiting? Marseille is the second largest city in France, and one of the biggest port cities in the Mediterranean. That said, it's a city worth visiting as it's not as famous as Paris, but there are still many beautiful and unforgettable places to see. Is Marseille, France safe to visit? Overall risk, medium. The police are doing its best to protect both the citizens and tourists in Marseille, and it is highly effective, but tourists still might be a target for pickpockets on the city's streets. It is a safe city, with certain parts to be avoided. Rather in the same way as Genoa or Naples, Marseille's importance as a port rather hindered its development as a tourist destination, and while other Mediterranean ports like Barcelona and Valencia began to develop their tourism in the 1970s, Marseille's did not. Its port was too important. But more recently, Marseille's has managed to maintain its status as one of the most important ports on the Mediterranean and develop as a tourist destination at the same time. How expensive is Marseille? You should plan to spend around €91, $106 per day on your vacation in Marseille, which is the average daily price based on the expenses of other visitors. Past travelers have spent, on average, €21, $25 on meals for one day and €25, $30 on local transportation.
How dangerous is Marseille? Having said that, we can't say that Marseille is a totally safe city, where you can walk around everywhere without any risks. Indeed, it is unfortunately well known for its trafficking of all kinds, prostitution, drugs, weapons, and for its high crime rate. How many days should I spend in Marseille? For a solid itinerary, we recommend at least 2 to 3 days, so you can explore the city's famous port, its diverse neighborhoods, and the delicious food scene. Tack on more time for Marseille's ancient sites and modern museums, with possible day trips to the Provençal countryside or Mediterranean coast. What are the dangerous areas of Marseille? If it is possible, you should avoid certain areas in Marseille, like the northern districts. These areas, like the 13th, 14th, 15th, and 16th arrondissement, are dangerous. The Bellevue on Félix Piat in the 3rd arrondissement, and the Eau de Mazargues in the 9th arrondissement, are particularly notorious. Is it expensive to live in Marseille? Summary about cost of living in Marseille, France: 4-person family monthly costs, $3,339.95, €2,869.27, without rent, using our estimator. A single person monthly costs, $917.35, €788.08, without rent. Cost of living index in Marseille is 23.07%, lower than in New York. How cold does it get in Marseille? In Marseille, the summers are short, warm, dry, and mostly clear, and the winters are long, cold, windy, and partly cloudy. Over the course of the year, The temperature typically varies from 39 degrees Fahrenheit to 84 degrees Fahrenheit, and is rarely below 30 degrees Fahrenheit, or above 90 degrees Fahrenheit. Is Marseille a good place to live? Marseille, France, is among the top cities with a free business environment. Our data reflects that this city has a good ranking in housing and healthcare. Do the French eat croissants every day? Do as the French do, and get a great croissant. Although there are patisseries on every street corner, and pastry is one of the things that the French do best, they tend to be more of a once or twice a week treat rather than an everyday item. Most Parisians are too health conscious to eat pain au chocolat every day. How long is the train ride from Barcelona to Marseille? 10 hours, and 19 minutes. The average journey time by train between Barcelona and Marseille is 10 hours and 19 minutes, with around 7 trains per day.
Do they speak English in Marseille? In Marseille, people who deal with tourists will speak English. Hotels, restaurants, attractions, and places like the Views Port, Cowes Julian, and La Canebière. Elsewhere, English proficiency tends to be more basic, so having some French phrases will really help here. How much is a taxi from Marseille Airport to Marseille? When traveling from Marseille Airport to the city center, you have 3 options: bus, taxi, or train. A taxi costs €50 in the day, and €60 at night, and takes 30 minutes to reach the center. A bus will cost you €8.30 one way, and your journey will take around 30 minutes. How long is the train ride from Paris to Marseille? 4 hours and 18 minutes. The average journey time by train between Paris and Marseille is 4 hours and 18 minutes, with around 19 trains per day. Should you tip in France? Think of it as a gesture, not an obligation. Once again, it's not necessary, but is appreciated for good service. There are no rules about tipping in France. In nicer restaurants, such as 3-star tables, where the service is exemplary, a tip of €20 is fine to leave. What is special about Marseille soap? Thanks to its extra pure vegetable composition, Marseille soap is highly recommended for greasy or acne-prone skins. It can be used for deep-down cleansing and controls sebum. What's more, it makes so much lather that it can even be used as shaving foam. It cleanses the skin and prevents ingrown hairs. Does it snow in Marseille, France? Much like in Avignon to the north, winter properly arrives in Marseille in December. Although the city rarely sees snowfall, it does experience cool temperatures, ranging from an average of 4 degrees Celsius at night to 12 degrees Celsius on average in the afternoon, which continue to become chillier into the new year. Where is the best place to live in France? The best place to live in France, the verdict. Paris, best for nightlife. Brittany, best for its affordability. Lyon, best for food and drink. Montpellier, best for families. Luberon, best for countryside. Dordogne, best for retirement. Provence, best for beaches. Is Marseille the oldest city in France? Founded in 600 BC by the Greeks from Phocaea, Marseille is the oldest city in France, and the second largest after Paris. Why do French drink coffee out of a bowls? Practically speaking, there are advantages, too. A bowl is, generally, bigger, which means more coffee, and easier dipping for your croissant. Not to mention, drinking your coffee from a bowl also negates the need for those mugs.
What is the most important meal of the day in France? Lunch? Essentially, it comes down to this: lunch is the most important meal of the day for the French. Even serious corporate businesses often look the other way if employees take more than an hour at lunch. For the French, lunch is that big meal that's supposed to get you through the day. How do I get from Paris to Marseille? It takes an average of 3 hours 59 minutes to travel from Marseille to Paris by train, over a distance of around 410 miles, 660 kilometers. There are normally 19 trains per day, traveling from Marseille to Paris, and tickets for this journey start from $23.30 when you book in advance. Is there Uber in Marseille, France? Uber is available at Marseille Airport, so you can enjoy a convenient and comfortable trip to wherever you need to go. Uber prices to and from Marseille Airport may be affected by time, traffic, and other factors. Check the Uber price estimator in the Uber app for approximate trip prices. Why do you only tip 6% in France? Why don't we tip the same way in France as we do in America then? In France, waiters are paid a living wage. That means that they don't depend on tips to supplement their salary, like waiters do in the US. Do French restaurants include tip? Unlike in America, cafes and restaurants in Paris and the rest of France include a 15% service charge in the check, which is required by French law. The words service compris indicate that the tip has already been included, so take a good look at the bill when it arrives. Can I just move to France? Yes, as with anything administrative in France, moving here as an American involves a lot of paperwork. However, those wanting just a taste of France won't need a visa, if the trip is for fewer than 90 days, unless you're a diplomat or a journalist. All you need is a passport that's valid for at least 3 months. Which is the richest city in Europe? Luxembourg, the capital city of the small European nation of the same name, was named as the richest metropolis in Europe. The city is the richest city in Europe in terms of GDP per capita, according to the study. The city of Marseille was created in the 6th century BC, when Greek explorers met with the local tribes, in the north bank of today's Vieux Port, and decided to settle, taking advantage of the natural conditions to establish a port. The colonist from Phocaea named the new town Massalia. Later on, in the year 49 BC, Caesar conquered the city in the expansion of the Roman Empire. The name changed to Massalia, and the economic activities focused on the port continued to expand. Nowadays the city of Marseille is the second urban agglomeration in France, after Paris. It has a population of 850,000 inhabitants, and almost 1.8 million in the metropolitan area. The port still plays an important role in the economy and the labor market. The city has established itself as an important tourism destination, and is integrated in the PACA region, Provence, Alpes and Côte d'Azur, which is one of the most attractive regions for tourism and leisure activities. The physical geography is typical from this part of the Mediterranean, with an accidental topography, including mountains entering directly into the water with very few flat area. Marseille, the oldest city of France, overflows with cultural, architectural, and artistic treasures to discover. It is a tourist destination particularly appreciated by the French and foreigners. Between tradition and modernity, the city of Marseille is waiting for you. From the Vieux Port, Old Port, to the Calanques, rocky inlets, by way of the Panier district, and the Corniche facing the sea, you will certainly be amazed by the beauty of the cosmopolitan city. Beyond the game of pétanque, and its football club Olympique de Marseille, OM, Marseille reveals itself behind its emblematic monuments, such as the Château d'If, Les Docks, the Palais de la Bourse, the Fort Saint-Jean fortification, Notre Dame de la Garde, the Palais Longchamp, the Marseille Cathedral of La Major, to name just a few.
European Capital of Culture in 2013, Marseille aims to be a destination of choice for art and culture enthusiasts. Still in 2013, Marseille inaugurated the Museum, a museum dedicated to the Mediterranean civilisations of the 21st century. It is today one of the most visited museums. In the historic centre of the city, you can also go to La Ville Charret. There, you will find many cultural structures: the Mediterranean Archaeology Museum, the African, Oceanic, and Native American Art Museum, MAAOA, but also a cinema, a bookshop. While exploring the city, alone or with a guide, immerse yourself in the local culture and discover the traditions of Marseille. Relax on the terrace of a restaurant, under the southern sun, to taste Marseille's cuisine. Let yourself be tempted by the Bouillabaisse, a fish specialty, or by the pieds piqués, the panisses, etc. If you were to bring back only one souvenir of Marseille, no doubt you would choose the famous soap. Particularly effective and renowned, it can be used to clean skin, hair, clothes, floors, walls. Ideally located, the Bouches-du-Rhône prefecture, in the Provence-Alpes-Côte d'Azur region, is a starting point for various tourist destinations accessible by train, plane and boat. Shop at La Canebière. This famous avenue is the wealthy shopping heart of Marseille. It's sometimes compared to the Champs-Élysées in Paris, where luxury brands alternate with cafes and restaurants. This wide street starts from Le Vieux-Port and stretches all the way to the Capucine neighborhood. La Canebière is not as glamorous as it used to be, but is still one of the most important streets of Marseille, and was featured in the movie French Connection too. Try the most famous Bouillabaisse soup. Bouillabaisse is Marseille's most famous dish, and the way they serve it here is surprisingly different from what you may have seen outside the Provence region. Here, the broth is served separately from the fish, and the stew is made with 3 local, bony fish that originally could not be sold at the market. Many restaurants around the old harbour serve it the traditional way, but don't be surprised if it's not as cheap as you may think. End the day at La Caravelle in the old harbour. End the day at the harbour where you started it, with a traditional anise-flavoured spirit from the south of France called pastis. A great place to conclude your exploration of Marseille is by relaxing on the terrace of La Caravelle, with a view of the Vieux-Port and the illuminated Basilica of Notre Dame de la Garde. The bar also hosts jazz concerts 3 times a week. Corrupt, dangerous and brutal to its core, but is Marseille the future of France? The truth is Marseille is the one city that possesses the dynamism the rest of France seems to have misplaced. Mamain rhapsodizes, "When my friends from Paris and Bordeaux take the bus here, they start crying. C'est la force of hearing people struggling to survive, it's drama, it's magnificent theatre. And it's free. In that sharp light, you understand nothing, but you're dazzled by everything. It's very, very beautiful, and the political project is always to shatter this beauty. It's appalling." Marseille is the place for people that are not afraid to discover a real place with real people. From colorful markets, like Noël's market, that will make you feel like you are in Africa, to the Calanques, a natural area of big cliffs falling into the sea. Calanque means fjord, from the Pania area, the oldest place of the town, and historically the place where newcomers installed, to the Vieux-Port, Old Harbour, and the Corniche or road along the sea. Marseille has much to offer. Marseille-Provence International Airport is located about 30 kilometers from Marseille. Buses, taxis, and a train connect in less than 30 minutes. Shuttle services from other European cities have made more places available from Marseille. Airport buses go directly from the airport to the train station, Gare de Marseille-Saint-Charles, and from train station to airport, every 15 minutes, for the cost of €10, or €16 for return ticket. The oldest city in France, founded 2,600 years ago. Second largest French city, according to population, 869,815, in c. 2019 figures. Largest French communauté communes, Marseille-Provence Métropole, totaling 18 towns and villages with a population of 1,200,000. Area, 240 square kilometers, including 100 square kilometers of natural areas. Largest European suburban park, Calanques National Park. Coastline, 57 kilometers including 20 kilometers in the Calanques. Climate, 300 days of sunshine per year. Average temperatures, spring 19 degrees Celsius, summer 25 degrees Celsius, fall 14 degrees Celsius, winter 12 degrees Celsius. Twinned with 13 international cities. Transport, 2 subway lines, 3 tramway lines, 1,000 bicycles in 130 stations, 88 bus lines, nearly 10,000 parking spaces in 15 parking lots. France's leading cruise port, 1,315,000 passengers, and French freight port, 2014 figures. World Water Capital since 1996, World Water Council headquarters. 2013 Marseille Provence European Capital of Culture. 2016 UEFA Cup. 2017 Marseille European Capital of Sport. 2019 Marseille Provence Gastronomy.
300 days of sunshine a year, 2,600 years of history, Europe's first peri-urban natural park, 111 villages, and at least as many different identities. Marseille is all this, and much more. Painters and writers from all over the world have always had a connection with Marseille, thanks to its unique light and special atmosphere. They have transcribed this atmosphere through their works. Today, journalists and photographers are doing the same with their reports. Travel restrictions in France. On Monday the 17th of March 2020, the French government has put into place rules and restrictions concerning travel. Le marché, the market. Almost every French town has a market, and a market day. Some are indoor markets using old halls, many are typical outdoor markets with stands. Some are historically famous, and date back hundreds of years. South of France food market. When you're traveling in the south of France, try to visit the large markets in the coastal towns. They are bustling with life, and have a very friendly atmosphere. So, just take your time, and enjoy a drink in a nearby cafe. Ratatouille, the word that English speakers cannot pronounce. There are huge pans bubbling with freshly made ratatouille, an impossible word for Anglophones to pronounce without being laughed at. Spices and herbs. You'll find spices and herbs from all over the world. These stands are always spectacular with arrays of color, and the odors will tantalize your nose. Purple garlic. You see many varieties of garlic, and often the famous purple garlic from the very beautiful Tarn countryside in the Midi-Pyrenees. Local farmers display goat's cheese in order of fresh to dry. If he offers you some to taste, then please do. You'll see fresh bread, roasting chickens, and of course, sweets and chocolate stands. Saucisson. The French saucisson will surprise you with all the different shapes and taste. There are many different recipes using pork, duck, wild boar, and other unusual meats.
There is always a stand with a keen seller, talking to a small crowd about a magical vegetable knife, or ever-clean windows. He'll carefully spin his web, cutting the price, and adding more and something free. Being a salesman starts here. As you walk around, you'll notice people taking the time to talk to each other. It's a meeting point, a place of social interaction. The market is a place to talk to other people, a place where you can argue and haggle, and a place to express yourself. Natural drama. At Calanques National Park, you'll find rough, white limestone cliffs that rise sharply above the sea. You can take a relaxing boat tour, or even kayak in the area. The park stretches from Marseille to La Ciotat, where you'll encounter landscapes of lime rock and red conglomerate. The park is internationally known for its sublime landscapes, biodiversity, and rich heritage. Blue mussels in Bouillabaisse, local cuisine. The signature dish of Marseille is without a doubt the savory Bouillabaisse. This savory fish stew is packed with an array of local seafood, including clams, white fish, mussels, or lobster, and the broth is flavored with fennel and pastis, a local licorice-flavored liqueur. Dive in with a crusty baguette for the full experience. Famous soap from Marseille, France for sale at a market. Le Panier, just north of the port, dates back to 600 BC. While its colored walls, narrow streets, and sunny squares once made up one of the poorest districts of the city, today it's filled with trendy independent boutiques, craft shops, and galleries. Cruise to Provence, and look for handmade savon de Marseille, the traditional green, or white soap made with olive oil, that has been exported from Marseille for centuries. Port cities quite like Marseille are few and far between. You'll find the energetic, lively, and ever-changing Marseille combines an alluring historic past with brisk, modern, and industrious present. In Marseille, there are plenty of places to stop and enjoy the French lifestyle. Ideally with a glass of red wine and mid-afternoon snack of bread, cheese, and meats. You will also find some fantastic seafood in the area, and many dishes are influenced by Spain, Italy, and North Africa, as well as traditional French cuisine. Like many ports around the world, Marseille long had a reputation for seediness and crime. And there's still a scruffiness about the city today, which is no bad thing. It lends Marseille a rakish character, and gives it an intoxicating dynamism and color. Bouillabaisse is a Marseille dish that is cooked all over the world. It's a fish and seafood stew normally made with lean fish that have little market value and are better when cooked down, like scorpion fish, conger, and sea robins. These are stewed with wine, olive oil, and saffron, although the remainder of the recipe varies from restaurant to restaurant. Part of the ritual is rustic bread smothered with rouille, a kind of piquant mayonnaise, and dropped into the soup. It all goes best with white wines, from the Rhône Valley or Languedoc-Roussillon. On the sweet side you can pick up navettes, cute boat-shaped biscuits in a variety of flavors, from anise to chocolate. Marseille has a good choice of things to do for couples. Settled in the majestic natural decor of the Mediterranean shore, the oldest French city offers a warm and welcoming atmosphere for a romantic vacation in the south of France. Strolling around the older districts of the city, exploring the nearby natural wonders, and dining on the outdoor terrace of a world-class seafront restaurant are just a few of the options at hand for you and your loved one. One of the oldest neighborhoods of Marseille, Le Panier, sits just north of the old port. It has a strong village-like atmosphere and is home to museums, artisan shops, and a lively scene of small cafes and restaurant. A multicultural place, the district is a maze of narrow lanes and staircases in which you can enjoy losing yourself. The many walls decorated with street art paintings give Le Panier a colorful, artsy style. COVID-19 travel alert. Attractions and experiences recommended in this video may be affected. Please check local guidance before you travel.